So as you know, I loved this chapter today. If you've seen my review yet, it was just so good, so much information delivered and so much we can work with. And I figured on top of doing a review, I will do a theory as well. And this is regarding the first half of the chapter, which talked about Vegapunk and his research team. So this whole research team has opened so many different doors to different possibilities in regards to who could have worked with Vegapunk aside from just Judge, because this was a research team and there was obviously more people involved in this. Now we know that this was in the field of high-tech weaponry, and there are also the whole modifying the human gene and modifying animals. And basically, I imagine devil fruits were also involved because it was stated that Vegapunk used genetic modification in the form of his artificial devil fruits, his artificial zones. So clearly this whole research team has completely transformed the world, okay? We know that the world government uses the pacifistas, which are pretty much just clones at this point. They use them to basically stop pirates. They use other forms of weaponry that were created by Vegapunk in order to put themselves above any pirate group. We also know that the Vinsmokes and Germa 66 have basically dominated many different portions of the North Blue due to this high-tech weaponry and their soldiers, which have been cloned. According to Yonji, we hear that parts of the research team had split up, different leaders within the research team, and they had basically gone to different parts of the world and did their own thing, continued their research in their own way to benefit the rest of humanity. Now, obviously, these people must have been very, very powerful if they had this kind of knowledge, very similar knowledge to both Vegapunk and Judge, who are able to take over entire nations in the process of using their technology. Now, who could have these secondary research members been? So, with Judge and Vegapunk both playing very big roles in the advancement of technology in the One Piece universe, who could even compare to their goals, and who could even compare to the type of domination they've played part in? Obviously, this research team was pretty significant through their discoveries, so I'm going to list some people who could have been involved in some way or may have some kind of connection to the whole research team and maybe just knew parts of the research team or just somehow know about the findings of the research team. Now, we obviously don't have all the answers, so I don't think I will be able to list anything that is 100% concrete, but it will indeed raise a lot of different possibilities at least. So somebody who comes to mind very easily is Blackbeard. Blackbeard has surpassed all of our expectations so far, and a lot of the mystery surrounding Blackbeard makes us wonder, where did he get this type of knowledge from? In Marineford, Marco basically states that Blackbeard's body is not normal and it's not like a normal human's body. And he says that this could be the reason why he can consume 2 devil fruits. Now, this to me definitely points to the possibility that he has been genetically modified to be able to consume 2 devil fruits. And lineage factors and DNA is something that the research team had studied a lot during their research. So I think Blackbeard was definitely in some way genetically modified to have this abnormal body that allows him to absorb 2 devil fruit abilities. And for him to have been connected to this research team, which was studying all these different abilities and genetic factors, it really makes sense in my opinion. And on top of that, Blackbeard has the ability to directly steal devil fruits. We also know that he has a special devil fruit books which names all the different devil fruits that exist in the world and their powers. And this is not a very common book. This is something that we only know that maybe Vegapunk and Sanji had access to in their lives. So where did he get all this knowledge, and where did he get this devil fruit book? And how has he been manipulated or modified to be able to eat 2 devil fruits? Given all of these facts, it's very possible that he was in some way connected to this research group, and it's very possible that he was a guinea pig of some sort, or maybe an actual member of the research team. And this could have been why he was hiding mysteriously in the Whitebeard Pirates for so long and tried to avoid being found out about, or to avoid making any sort of scene. When Shanks was young, he apparently had gotten a scar from Blackbeard, and more recently he warned Whitebeard about the dangerous potential of Blackbeard. And up until this point, Blackbeard has made a huge name for himself and has even risen to Yonko level based on his knowledge alone. As they say, knowledge is power, so maybe Blackbeard had gained this knowledge and this genetic modification from working together with this research group in some way. Another idea for who could have been involved in this research group is Dr. Kuraha. Now, this idea is a lot more convincing in my opinion because we know that Dr. Kuraha has access to a drug called NHC-10. Now, only top scientists around the world have access to this drug, like Caesar and Vegapunk, so for Dr. Kuraha to have this drug is very mysterious and makes her a huge candidate to have actually been part of this research group. She also has superhuman speed and strength, which is probably due to some kind of genetic modification she has done on herself. And let's not forget that she is 141, which well surpasses the normal living age of a human. And even with that in mind, she still has tons and tons of energy left over, and she isn't really as affected by her age like most people, which obviously once again points to her having some beyond normal scientific expertise. And Dr. Kuraha has claimed to have taught Chopper everything she knows, so if Chopper had discovered the Rumble Ball with the help of her research, it's very possible that her knowledge even extends beyond normal medical knowledge and even extends into the category of devil fruit knowledge. So given her very expansive medical and scientific expertise, it wouldn't surprise me if she was once part of this research group that Vegapunk and Judge were once part of as well. Now, one person who comes to mind, who I'm sure some of you are very doubtful about at first, but you just got to hear me out here, is Sir Crocodile. Now, if you saw my theory yesterday on Crocodile and his connection to Germa, I'm sure you probably were thinking, where's the big hint, or where's the big point that could really connect us from Germa to Crocodile and Baroque works? And I really think that this chapter gave us a really big hint as to how this theory could play out. Now, one major point to make about this idea is that Crocodile has a very, very high level of knowledge about devil fruits, very similar to Vegapunk. In regards to devil fruit knowledge, we know that Crocodile is one of the few characters to have mentioned devil fruit awakening. He basically said that he was able to perfect his devil fruit, and he knows about the zone awakenings through his statement in Impel Down. Crocodile had also mentioned that certain devil fruits can counter other devil fruits, which was something that played a huge role later on in the story through Luffy defeating Enel, Mr. 3 countering Magellan, etc., etc. Now, for me, where this idea starts to get very convincing is in the fact that Crocodile had access to technology which allows you to put devil fruits into objects. Now, this is something that Vegapunk only does for the world government, and it's very hard for anybody else to actually accomplish this unless they have the technology that Vegapunk has. So Crocodile, if his crew had this type of technology, obviously had to play some part in research that Vegapunk once did. Now, this scientific research group was involved in high-tech weaponry, okay? And what is Crocodile's ultimate goal? He wanted to find the Pluton, which is the strongest weapon that has been used throughout history. Now, even Cobra was surprised that Crocodile had knowledge of this weapon and knew where to find the supposed location of it. Basically, for Crocodile to know about this type of information is not common knowledge, okay? So this is something that only he and maybe a few other people knew about. And one other thing convinces me that maybe he was once part of this research group alongside Judge, and that is the connection and similarities between the goals of Baroque works and Germa 66. We know that Crocodile's main goal through developing Baroque works was to gather military might, very similar to Judge in his creation of Germa 66. I would like to thank Monkey Spy for sending me a lot of these connections like this one here, so go check him out. Some of the connections between Germa 66 and Baroque works are more subtle. For example, we see in this cover page, Mr. 1 is cosplaying as Ichiji from Germa 66. And throughout the entire Alabasta arc, Sanji didn't once come into contact with Crocodile, and he also pretended to be Mr. 3 from Baroque works. Now, what's interesting is that Sanji is the third son of the Vinsmokes and represents the number 3. It's possible that Crocodile would have known that Sanji was part of Germa if they had come into contact, and on top of the whole foreshadowing with the number 3, it does seem very likely that there is some kind of connection between Baroque works and Germa. And even the whole similarity through using birds in their Jolly Roger or symbols, it's very clear that there is some kind of connection between the two, which leads me to believe that maybe during this whole research team formation, Crocodile could have come into contact with Judge and heard about his plans, and then later used these plans to form Baroque works. Now, Crocodile isn't, of course, as likely as the other two in my opinion, and it's sort of up to speculation whether or not he was really in the group or not, but it does feel that with the connection between Germa and Crocodile and Baroque works, and his vast knowledge altogether, he could have been in some way part of this research group. These are just my basic ideas on who could have been part of this research group, so just give me your thoughts down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who do you think could be in this research group, given that maybe somebody we have seen before or somebody that we know could actually have been part of it? Write your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you all later.